Okay.
It's the body of Dr. von Trauerschloss. He's dead. And what's more, he's been murdered. But who could have done this? There must be some clues around.
It's a candlestick.
The missing candlestick. And it seems to be the murder weapon.
Interesting.
The body is still warm. He cannot have been dead for much longer than I have been alive. Did he have to die for me to live?
Weird.
There's a letter clutched in his hand. His final words? Or a clue left by the killer?
Okay. Over the course of a sleepless night, I have thought through my next course of action from every possible angle, for it is indeed time for me to take action again. Even with the troublesome maid out of the way, I see little chance of getting my old Belladonna back. If anything, she is worse than ever before. But I have an idea, one that kept me awake all night. I have come very far in my research by now. I can now fairly predictably create living creatures that are stable enough to not spontaneously die again. Okay? This is consistent through many different species of animal. I have noticed something peculiar, though. The returned creation seems strangely vacant and sluggish. It is as if, although the body is brought back to life, the soul is forever lost. The creation is perfectly functional and responds to stimuli just as if it was truly alive, but the mysterious spark of will seems to be missing. I know no other way to describe the phenomenon. This bothered me before, but now I cannot help to think that this might suit my needs. Isn't it precisely the strong will of my wife that is causing all my problems? There is no need to be poetic with flowers this time. I am in no short supply of lethal substances in the laboratory, and poison suits my needs well as it leaves no physical trauma on the body. I'll still need to make incisions in the corpse to replace internal organs with clockwork parts, but stitching together surgical cuts is much simpler than trying to repair unhealed bodily damage. The integrity of her visage is a priority. To extinguish Belladonna's current life and give her a new one, to bring her body and mind back, minus soul and free will, a beautiful, obedient automation, a mechanical doll with all the functionality of a woman, but who is responsive and does what she's told. That, my dear future reader, would truly be something. I think it is high time I tried my revivification process on a human subject. So I'm gonna take it that we are Belladonna the wife, and he brought us, killed us, and then brought us back, but someone murdered him.
Those are a lot of gargoyles. Leupold, Brunhilde, Arthur, Maya, Lena, Ismildor, Ether, and Yosef. In that order.
Right, not gonna remember those. Those are all gonna stay George, just like the one in the basement.
It's an old clock. Tick-tock, tick-tock.
That's it? That's what we walked up here for? Alright, let's... living room to the study. Let's go to the study first. And let's see... I don't think there's really anything interesting. Bookshelves.
That's a lot of books. Imagine you had books filled with every possible combination of letters. I wonder how much room they would take. There's a finite amount of letters, but unless we acknowledge a maximum length of a word, there would still be an infinite number of combinations, and the library would have to be infinitely large.
Right. Oh, a raven.
A stuffed raven atop a bust of Pallas Athena. What a cheerful decoration. Let's call them Annabelle and Dupin.
What are your names? What are your friggin' names?
Look at all these old toys. Wind-up dolls, music boxes, and mechanical trains all around. I think this used to be a private hobby of the eccentric Dr. Wolfram's, before he got into the whole corpse business.
Huh.
Another portrait. It says her name is Franziska Canosa, an old relative, no doubt. But I wonder how she relates to the von Trauerschloss family.
Maybe she's from, Belladonna's side of the family. What would be?
Look, a perfect sphere. Let's see if I can get two parallel lines to intersect.
Uh-huh.
The doctor's handwriting. I know it well by now.
Me too. Okay. Months have passed, and I must indeed conclude that the procedure was a success. The new Belladonna is certainly calmer, friendlier, and more docile. She gladly keeps me company in the laboratory nowadays, and she's polite and pleasant in everything she does. One is tempted to describe her demeanor as lobotomized, but no. When I ask her questions, she will answer in a clear and articulated voice, and she is responsive to all kinds of stimuli. Verily, I have gotten all I could ask for. The troublesome maid is gone, and Belladonna is back with me. Compliant as ever. Her behavior is exemplary. Whatever. Our lives are returning to that ideally fast I had thought lost in all aspects except one. No child giggles in these halls. That's sad, but my research is proceeding rapidly, and the question presents itself. Who needs a womb to create life? Oh, good gosh. I have made an unexpected observation, a side effect of the unliving condition. The household cat, a black beast and once Belladonna's loving pet, has gained a great mistrust for the latter's new form. A disgust has fallen over the animal, and he will not go near the creation. Why is this, I wonder? Why this lack of trust, this sudden and ferocious hatred? Belladonna's appearance seems to be, to me, not much unlike what the cat before so fondly gravitated towards. But evidently the beast perceives a difference. As a species, the cat has popularly been associated with witchcraft and mysticism. Their eyes do indeed strike one as remarkable. It is perchance so that the feline oculus is capable of peering into human soul and spirit, and so, when faced with the created Belladonna, is distressed by the lack thereof. Good freaking God. Blech.
I should sit down and write a story.
No.
But with all these journals and diary pages lying around, seems like I already may have.
What? Are you telling me? I thought... Okay.
I'm not going near that horrible cat. I'll have to get rid of it somehow if I want to proceed.
Okay. Nice to know. So I guess we need to find something to get rid of the cat. Let's go to the living room. Okay.
This room looks completely abandoned. I suppose this is what happens when you're down to a skeleton crew of only one maid, no matter how fantastic she is.
I guess.
Another journal page. This one has drops of blood on it.
Belladonna. Must think, remember, hands, fingers, write words. Okay. Alright, interesting. Can we go to the backyard? Wait, there's a page right here that I did not pick
This
up.
letter is signed Belladonna. I've been waiting to hear the other side of this story.
Belladonna, whatever. If you asked me just a few years ago about my future, I could never have fathomed my life today would be as it is. So strange a path has the twist of fate set me upon that I wake every morning bewildered, and like a small child I expect anything and everything to happen during each new day. The night my planned future snapped out of joint and took a whole new direction was the night when my son Lucas died. I married Dr. Wolfram Vaughn, yeah, that dude, in the spring, and we loved each other deeply back then. How young we were. He was an educated gentleman from the University of English, and I had first assumed we would get a flat in Venia. Instead, he convinced me we should live in the family's old castle and accept our roles as old-fashioned nobility to the little village down the hill. We moved into the castle with a staff of 30 servants, beginning the task of breathing life and joy into the majestic halls. At this time, I expected to live out my life as a lady of the household, minding the servants and indeed raising children. Before long, our first son was born, and shortly after that he once again departed. I was devastated, of course, but Lucas had been sickly from his first day, and even though my husband had blocked out the possibility from his mind, I was not entirely surprised when it happened. Nonetheless, it changed us. I believe Wolfram blames me for what happened, that he thinks it was somehow my fault. He retreated into his laboratory in the old dungeon and started doing unholy experiments and God knows what. There were dark times. Those were dark times. Instead of a household and a child to take care of, I now had no guests, particularly no husband and no child. Everything I thought would occupy my time was gone, and all I could do was grieve in solitude. The castle staff left one by one until there were only a handful still here. My existence was meaningless, and I spent my days doing nothing, but I dealt with my grief in my own way, and in time the claws of melancholy began loosening their grip on me. In so many ways, I have Clara to thank for that. I'm assuming that's the maid. Interesting. So, wait a minute. Which one was Belladonna's letter? Crap. Wasn't this one? Was it this one? That's... Okay, that's not the same handwriting. So, I'm gonna get a couple more Belladonna. I think I got all the doctors, and then I'm gonna get some of Belladonna's, and then this, whoever this person is. Alright, can we go to the backyard now? We can.
There's a bottle of milk out here. I wonder how long it's been here. At any rate, it's frozen completely solid. No wonder in this cold.
Okay, so I can heat that up somehow, maybe? And then give it to the cat to get through?
One more Belladonna letter. Let's read about this Clara figure.
What the heck is that? Clara Stieber was one of the several chambermaids we hired when we moved into the castle shortly after the marriage. In the warm light of recent events, I feel as though I could pick her out of a crowd already at this time, but I suspect that the truth is that she was just another servant, one of many, and I didn't pay her close to the attention I now know she deserves. The time following the death of Lucas is hazy and unclear in my memory. I know I spent most of my time in an armchair in the living room staring out the window. I now know that this must have been a difficult time for the staff as well. My apathy left them without purpose, as more and more of the household was shut down. Soon the cooks in the stable rooms began abandoning what they wisely identified as a sinking ship, and more of the staff left the castle to seek employment elsewhere. There was less and less reason for the rest to stay, and the household was quickly decimated. But throughout all of this, young Clara never left my side, and she gradually shouldered more and more of the household responsibilities, making it her task to take care of me and nurse me through my melancholy. It was her loyalty and indiscretion? Whatever. When everyone else left, that finally brought me back from my condition. And indeed, her love. Okay, so they were lovers? Okay. As I now sit down to write, it has been a long, unbroken chain of happy days. Clara and I have the whole castle practically to ourselves and nothing to do but to enjoy our lives and each other. We sleep in a new room every night, cook our own food, and have picnics under tables or in front of the fireplace. We have no incentive whatsoever to uphold convention and norms when this house has become like a secure pocket inside the rest of reality. In truth, this touches on what I treasure most in Clara. Neither of us reap any concrete benefits from our union, neither financially nor socially. There is no embedded purpose of producing heirs. Our relationship exists solely for itself and is its own reward. I am already adopting her adorable habit of naming inanimate objects. Ah, so that's why we do that. The castle is not quite ours, however. Wolfram still lurks like a ghoul downstairs, and occasionally emerges and spends a night up here with me. We have little in common anymore. In fact, he is like a completely new person. His mind is vacant, his stare distant, he's thinner than ever before and shivers with cold. Clara jokingly suggested that we might have him declared mad and sent off to an institution. An innocent idea in her mind, but with some planning, this act might eventually prove to be our surest path to finally reclaiming this old castle for us over there. Interesting. So she was in love with the maid. He wasn't. I mean, I thought he was probably overreacting.
This must be the family cemetery. Yet, baby Lucas rests in an urn in the dining room. Why is that?
Because he was the son.
It says, Snowflake the pet cat. How cute. The stone is so old and the name is worn off.
What? Okay.
The tombstone says Clara Stieber.
Oh!
This must be the grave of the wonderful maid I've heard so much about.
Oh!
I can't help but notice that it's been emptied. A note.
Great God, why did I not then expire? Why am I here to relate the destruction of the best hope and the purest creature of earth? It was mere days ago, at the peak of our bliss, when Clara fell ill. She complained of headaches and tiredness, so I made a bed for her and laid her down to rest. For the next few days, I cared for my companion just as she had cared for me, and nursed her with all my love and compassion. We believed it was just a passing sickness and that it would be over shortly. Each morning we thought she was getting better, and each evening we relished she had actually gotten worse. And today, when I entered her bedroom, she was there, lifeless and inanimate, thrown across the bed, her head hanging down and her pale and distorted features half covered by her hair. In horror, I behold the body of Clara, my love, so lately living, so dear, so worthy. I rushed towards her and embraced her with a door, but the deathly languor and coldness of the limbs told me that what I now held in my arms had ceased to be the Clara whom I had loved and cherished. Alas, what full curse lies in my gentle touch. I have lost my only child to the darkness, my husband to devouring madness, and now my lover has departed this world as well. Is my love truly as poisonous as my ominous name? So yes, that was in fact Jonah. So we can go to the greenhouse. Oh no. Well, he did. We'll see what that was when we go back, I guess. Boxes?
Yes, those are indeed boxes.
Oh, okay, thank you. Smart eyes.
A plant, a natural object, standing in a pot, a man-made object. The plant can consume nutrition and grow bigger, and the pot can't. Neither of them can think. So what about me, then? I can think, I know that. But am I natural or man-made?
Interesting, Belladonna. I'm honestly...
This lantern might prove to be the very first thing that actually manages to shed some light on my situation. I'll keep it.
Okay.
Belladonna. This little plant has caused a lot of trouble. For a flower, it's not particularly beautiful, but for a murder weapon, it sure is.
Interesting. Oh my god, did we put... We're not gonna poison the cat, are we?
It's a large tree. Looks very peaceful. Couldn't I have been reincarnated into one of those instead of being forced back into this mess?
Alright, let's read this journal page here.
More letters. Can someone tell me what happened to poor Clara?
Some time has passed since the demise of Clara. As I calm down and regain control over my emotion, it occurs to me that there are some mysterious circumstances concerning her death. The sickness that came over her was swift and sudden indeed. Admittedly, my own medical knowledge is limited, but it still seems to me that such an instant and terminal change in the bodily humerus should not occur naturally. Could it be that she somehow ingested something that made her sick? But what? And for that line of thought, it is not as far a leap to ponder if she was murdered. It was long ago that I lost track of the details of my husband's deranged research, but I do know he handles lethal substances and obscure chemicals. How easy it would have been for him to slip something in Clara's food. So then, why would he do such a thing? Did he know about our affair? We were very careful, but perchance he guessed it, despite our efforts. He would not go as far as murder based solely on a guess, would he? The distressing truth is, I no longer have any way of telling what Wolfram is capable of. It is of vital importance that these notes never reach any eyes but my own. These are grave accusations I am scribbling down, and in ways of proof I do not even have anywhere to start looking, and yet the possibility is there, gloating in its simplicity. Ah, she was right. Then there's another... Did I look in this basket?
Nothing inside.
Okay, this didn't matter. There's another
Look, a journal page was hiding behind the plant.
Did Wolfman murder poor Claire, or did he not? My situation has reached a point where it hardly makes any difference. I still cannot prove anything, but my conviction of his sin is only growing stronger. I cannot look at his face without seeing a murderer, nor not listen to his voice without hearing the words of an evil man. And the coward knows it. He sees the judgment in my eyes, and he shrinks away from it like the rodent he is. Guilty or not, he could not act more like a culprit if he so confessed his crime in the town square. If he was hiding in his laboratory before, now he practically lives there. We both realized that he lacks the courage to meet my gaze, and after that he simply stopped coming back upstairs. Villain, the fiend. He cannot rot away in his dungeon, forgotten by the world. His remaining days spent in darkness and solitude, I will not forgive him. How could I, when he has provided me with nothing but misery since the day we met? The living areas of this castle are mine now, and if my husband is incapable of even comforting me, he shall have no benefit from them. Curse my miserable existence. What is this?
What a marvelous mausoleum. The plaque says Francisca Canosa. This must be the resting place of the lady from the portrait in the study.
Ah! Alrighty then. Well, guys, on that note, I think I'm going to end it there. This is a good game. I'm liking it so far. The story's interesting. A lot of reading, but whatever. I like to read. I'm not good at it. Doesn't mean I don't like to do it. So, yeah. Pick this up next time. I will see you guys later.